Alright, we need to gap the plug. And I've already, oh, it's a little bit loose. These are very soft. Doesn't take much to bend them. It looks like all Briggs gaps that I can find in references online are 30 thousandths. We've got an 030 feeler gauge here. There we go. Now, very important in installing a spark plug, you can see I have this silvery stuff on here. This is anti-seize or never seize. If you do not put this on a spark plug, you are incompetent. This is why heads get ruined from plugs that get seized into aluminum heads. And anybody that does not use this anti-seize compound is absolutely incompetent, and I would not allow them to do anything to my vehicles. Most people do not know that this is the proper way to install a spark plug. They'll just put them in dry, and then 5 years later, maybe it's 10 years later, and you think, well, why do I care? I'm not going to have the car anyway. Well, the poor damn sucker that gets the car, which might be your kid or your friend that you sold it to, they end up with a damn head stripped out because you were incompetent and didn't use this material. Now, I had a little camera issue and had to take this plug back out and re-record this. So you see it all through the threads, but I just put a little dab in about 4 threads and wiped it around and then threaded it in. You don't want this goopy, messy stuff all over the place. You certainly don't want it out here at the electrode anywhere because it's conductive. I believe it actually has powdered aluminum in it. Now, when we install the plug, we want to be careful not to bump the our adjustment that we've made, and we want to turn the plug in. I've just started it. Now, a lot of people, once they sense that they've started the threads, they'll put the ratchet on and run it in. And if they've cross-threaded it, which you can get about half a turn across thread, they damage the threads. These are expensive and difficult repairs. So always run it in a long ways, at least 3 or 4 turns with the by hand, and it should go in clean and smooth like that. Now, when you first start torquing up on a plug, and I've already torqued this one because I had my camera accident. When you first start torquing up on a plug, it'll get to kind of a hard snug, and then it'll seem like you'll be able to go all the way around, maybe a little farther, and it doesn't get any tighter. And it feels a little bit like you're stripping, but you're not stripping. What you're doing is there's a special washer on the bottom of the plug, and it's a 2-piece washer. It's hollow inside, and you're smashing it down. It's like a gasket. So it takes about a revolution to smash it down. Now, once you get it down about a revolution, you'll notice that the plug will suddenly start to get tighter. And so I'm going to tighten this to the proper torque. And now the plug is properly installed. These exhaust header bolts also can be prone to get stuck. In an automobile, anything you do, any exhaust manifold, any header bolts have to get never seized. I realized I forgot that, so I took it apart and corrected it, going back together. Putting the muffler on, not forgetting this heat shield. Ooh, might be a ticklish thing to hold in position. Let's see how I can do that. Slips up over the feather. There we go. Put never seize on these bolts as well. Hook on something. Oh, I see. These heat shields are important. Don't leave them off. This is how you don't have a fire when your muffler's glowing red hot. and you're going through the tall grass. There we go. Get the fasteners back in this and we'll be done. Turns out this is a fuel pump. I ordered a brand new pre-filter and air filter. Since this is a new mower for me, I'd like to start fresh and new. Not here yet. Only cost about $6 delivered. Also ordered a new oil filter. 5 something delivered. I probably could have bought that for less at a local store. I'm going to force it. What's going on here? Doesn't want to close. What's going on? No, I think that's how it's supposed to be. Dry spot right there. So we have it full up very close to the top dot. We won't know for sure if I've solved the oil problem. Well, I know for sure, but we won't have proof positive until we cut the grass. I've put all my toys away. I've checked the oil. It's time to roll it out and see if it will start on the first crank. Fired right up. I don't ran go. Dave from the Crafted channel here. This is the John Deere L108 automatic tractor with 18.5 horsepower Intek overhead valve single cylinder engine. And remember, we had a massive oil consumption problem, which from reading online and studying how the engine works, I theorized could be a blown head gasket. And I took it apart, and in prior recordings I did show it did in fact have a blown head gasket. We changed the head gasket, put a new valve cover gasket on, adjust the valves, and we've been cutting the grass, and we've cut the grass 3 times now, and I haven't had to add any oil. Now remember, the first time we used this to cut our property, it used about half a quart, which is quite a bit of the contents of the crankcase. And here's what we have now. We can see the oil right at my fingernail. I can see the shadow of it is right in the middle of the hash marks, right between the 2 dots on the dipstick. You can see that line right there. So it's right in the middle. This is from me dragging oil up the side of the dipstick. Now it's measured right between these two dots all 3 times we've cut the grass, and it hasn't changed. When I first filled the oil, after doing the head gasket, I had oil in the tube, and I had thought that I had it up at this dot, but it's a little difficult to read the dipstick then. And so I wanted to do more than one grass cutting just to confirm that the oil was not reducing in any perceptible way. So we absolutely did fix the oil consumption problem on this tractor. So you don't have to be afraid of things. You can fix things. You saw the videos. It wasn't a complicated job. I made that repair in a few hours, I imagine. It's been about 3 weeks ago as of the taping today. I hope you enjoyed the series. We might do something else with the tractor in the future.